Welcome to the Vault XL. At a Memphis Church's Chicken, Monica Williams, 45 years of age, was in the drive-thru in her car and had an altercation with an employee, Anitra West, 48 years of age. I do not know what transpired during this ordering of food, but allegedly it's over. The order, who said what to whom, it's all just ratchetness. It has also come to light that Monica Williams, 45, has a violent past. In 2004, she assaulted a woman by the name of Israel Britt Taylor, and the woman was 8 months pregnant at the time. That woman feels like she was set up because she went to her baby daddy's home to get money, and out of nowhere, Monica Williams attacked her at her car, tree branch hitting a window or windshield, and I guess she must have gotten out. That's the only understanding I can get of how they would have been able to have an altercation and fight. She feels like she got the best of her, but then out of nowhere, Monica pulled out a knife and stabbed her. So in 2009, Ms. Williams was convicted of aggravated assault for stabbing Israel Britt Taylor. Now you fast forward to 2024, and she has shot Anitra West in some type of altercation over food. It has been said that Anitra West stepped outside to cool off, and assumingly this female must have seen her, Miss Williams, outside, and then she unalived her. What I'm curious to know is why would Miss Monica, step outside knowing you've had this violent word exchange or whatever, don't know if someone threatened the other one, but why step outside? Did she go outside to try to fight this woman? Did Anitra, the employee, go outside to fight Monica Williams? Because what's interesting is that you step outside allegedly to cool off, and now you are no longer alive because this woman shot you. So is it just she happened to go out the front door to cool off, smoke a cigarette, and then this woman comes out in her car and sees her at the entrance and then just pulls out the gun and shoot her? Did she shoot from the car? Did she step outside and shoot her? Or as I said, did Anitra walk out to confront her at her car and was unalived by Monica Williams? Exactly where was Anitra shot? At the front entrance? On the sidewalk? Up near the door? Or did she get shot near this woman's car? I don't know all the details, but let's play the commentary. Fox 13 Memphis is the source. Thank you for joining me. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign the Ganji, 129 Cash App, stickers, and chats. Always welcome to the live stream. Thank you for your time.
Suffering hell. The frustrations of a 12-year-old, devastated tonight after the brutal murder of her mother. Her mother, that church's chicken employee that was gunned down yesterday. Police are still looking for this woman tonight in connection to that shooting. They say she pulled the trigger. Thank you for joining us tonight at 9. I'm Daryl Green. Darcy Thomas is off this evening. Now, tonight, that victim's 12-year-old daughter and her father are speaking only with Fox 13 News. Daniel Wilkerson, he's live outside the church's chicken where it happened in South Memphis. So, Daniel, have police said at all why this happened? Why did this all happen?
They say it happened over a food order, Daryl. Get that. We've also learned just within a few minutes that police have located the suspect's vehicle. More on that here in just a second. But in an exclusive interview, both the daughter and the father spoke with me. The daughter, as you would imagine, heartbroken over the death of her mother.
She meant everything.
At times, it was hard for 12-year-old Zoe West to even speak about her mother.
I just want my mama. I don't want nobody else.
Zoe and her father, Lorenzo West, say Zoe's mother was that church's chicken employee fatally shot Monday night. West says he got a phone call.
And to get my daughter to the hospital to get her shot.
Sadly, he says his ex-wife, 48-year-old Anitra West, did not pull through.
She likes the way, certain way to live. She always worked for it.
And that's what police say she was doing when she was murdered. It happened just after 9 Monday night at the Church's Chicken on Park Avenue. Investigators say this woman with purple hair drove through the drive-thru in this teal-colored SUV and had an argument with West. Officers say at some point, West walked outside to get some air. A few minutes later, witnesses tell police they heard a gunshot. They say the woman in the SUV then sped off the parking lot. Memphis police confirmed to Fox 13 News Tuesday night the dispute was over a food order. This 12-year-old would have to learn the news her mother died online.
I figured out Google.
Zoe and her father say Wes was super smart. They say she loved serving people, and that's why she chose to work in the service industry.
We were married 15 years, and she was my high school sweetheart and all that. And we pretty much had gotten closer after we separated, because we had to co-parent.
At this point in the interview, I asked a question that sometimes is hard to ask families who have just lost a loved one. I asked whether there was a lesson that can be learned from all of this.
Read the audience. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Be in control of you. If you're in control of you, 9 times out of 10, you control the situation to a certain extent.
He says some people have no regard for human life, and you never know who you're arguing with. As for this 12-year-old, who will now have to grow up without her mother, she has this message for the killer.
And I hope you die and suffer in hell.
Back out live tonight, it's just hard to hear. The father tells me that he and his child's mother have been divorced for about 2 years now. He says he's technically not the next of kin, so it's been really hard to get information from police as well as from the hospital. He says the next of kin is the victim's mother, who he says is on vacation, not able to be reached by phone, so she has yet to learn of her daughter's death. DG.
That is Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson live tonight. Daniel.
All right, everybody, I'm going to stop right there. Thank you for joining me. Fox 13 Memphis is the source. So we have the father of the child who was once married to Miss Anitra West. They were together since high school. Been apart now a few years. You hear the child, Zoe, wishing death on Monica Williams. Wishes she suffers in hell. Interesting. Sad that a child would even have to utter those type of words. But she has lost her mother. And that's a terrible feat for a child. And I'm sure it's also terrible for Mr. West to hear this news. You also hear that the child learned of her mother's death online. And that is not the place to learn that your mother has been gunned down outside of a restaurant where she works. What happened in that drive-thru? What was said? Who said what to whom? What was wrong with the order? Was the order not right? Food not hot enough? Something was missing from the order? Order took too long? Who said what to whom first? Are we going to hear it was an attitude from Miss West? Did she have an attitude at the window? I don't know. But when we look at Miss Williams' past, 45 years of age, who is on the run right now. Authorities are looking for her. She has a violent past, as I stated at the beginning of this stream. She was convicted in 2009 of aggravated assault. And that assault took place in 2004 against an Israel Britt Taylor. This woman was 8 months pregnant and feels as though she was set up by possibly her boyfriend, baby daddy, of her child, because this woman comes out of nowhere approaching her car and they get into an altercation and she feels like she got the best of her. She says she whooped her tail, but she pulled out a knife. So it's so much to learn now about this Monica Williams. Is this her only offense? The stabbing of Miss Israel Britt Taylor 20 or so years ago. How much time did she receive? How much time did she receive for that stabbing? That woman is lucky to be alive. And I'm sure she's thinking about that after speaking with the news. This woman stabbed me. Obviously over a baby daddy issue or something ghetto ratchet. And now fast forward 20 years later, she has an altercation with a woman in a drive-thru. And that woman comes out allegedly just to get fresh air. And don't know if words were exchanged or she just went up and shot the lady. But she's deceased, Miss Anitra West. That's the gist of the story. Miss Williams has a past history of violence. 20 years ago, stabbing an 8-month-old woman. a woman carrying a baby 8 months in her womb. So you know she doesn't have regard for life, as you hear Mr. West saying here. Some people don't have regard for life, and this woman didn't. Because most people say, who stabs a woman carrying a baby? 8 months, she's almost due. But you have women who don't care. And I was thinking the same about the woman who was carrying the baby. I'm trying to understand, how did you get out of your car to fight her? Because if you saw her coming with a tree branch or hitting your windshield, whichever car window, why get out? You know you're carrying a baby. You know you're almost due. And she couldn't have drug you out of the car if your doors were locked. So were your doors locked? I'm curious. I asked all the questions because something's missing in that story as well. You go to your baby daddy's house to pick up money, and what? You go to your car after getting the money, and out of nowhere, here comes this female, Monica Williams, approaching your car trying to assault you. And somehow you're out of the car fighting her. So you had to have opened the door. Or she opened your door for you. But that still means you would have to have had the car stopped with the door unlocked in order for her to take you out, drag you out. So something about that version is strange and amiss in my eye. But nonetheless, she was charged. So the court found her at fault in 2009, and that incident took place in 2004 with an Israel Britt Taylor. Ms. Taylor has spoken to the news about that incident, and as I said, she should count herself lucky because now we have a woman, Anitra West, who is no longer alive. Prayers to Mr. West, prayers to her daughter Zoe, because this has to be a horrific place to be, a young person losing your mother and then losing your mother in such a violent manner, because this isn't the way a person should go out, being on their job, working at night, and then words exchanged through a drive-thru of all places, and then you step outside to be killed, and killed by a female. So where is Monica Williams, 45? Does she have children? Is she married, dating? Who is she living with? Does she know Anitra West? Because I was questioning that. Because I was saying to myself, how did it get to this point of two people arguing in a drive-thru and then it leads to murder? You know, I can see people exchanging words about maybe an order being wrong or it took too long or overcharged or something like that. But to go pull out a gun and kill the person, is it that serious to unalive a person? Of course not. And as you hear Mr. West saying, you know, you go out here and do something, you got to be responsible for your actions. You don't know who you're arguing with. And that's the truth. What starts off as just a few words, next thing you know, somebody's pulling out a weapon. They're beating a person up. They're pulling out a gun because you don't know people. And that has been said. It's best sometimes to just ignore the honking horn. Don't you honk your horn. Don't you yell out the window. Don't you yell obscenities or throw up a bird, because you don't know where those actions can lead. And some of us are hot-headed. We get upset or we easily anger. But then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Because a lot of us don't want to seem like we're being punked out, that we're just letting people run all over us. But as the old saying goes, you have to choose your battles. You have to choose your battles. So in this situation, I don't know who said what to whom first. I don't know whom had an attitude first or had an attitude just has a nasty disposition, period. But it did not have to lead to murder. And this is a terrible, terrible situation. Now, Church's Chicken, representative for the company, has issued their condolences to the family in the unaliving of Miss West. And I think it's even more horrific this taking place in Memphis, because as most of you know, Memphis has a very high crime rate. There's always some crime with robbery, assaults, murders, missing people in the general area. And this is just another defeat of a young woman going to work, trying to take care of herself, her family, to only be unalived while on the clock at a fast food restaurant. Once again, prayers to the West family. You also heard that the mother is on vacation, her mother. So Mr. West is not the next of kin. And I'm assuming by now the mother has been reached by someone to let her know that her daughter has been unalived. This is a tragic case. Another tragic story coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. Another tragic story here in the United States. of an unnecessary homicide. Now, if you're protecting yourself, your home, your children, you're in the privacy of your home, that's different. You have to do what you need to do to preserve life. But no one should be getting unalived in a drive-through window or a restaurant or outside of a restaurant or anywhere in the public or even in their home. Because if you're minding your business, no one has the right to impede on your personal space, to assault you, rob you, sexual assault, which is soever. Where is Monica Williams? Ma'am, you have taken the road that shouldn't be traveled. You already have a violent past with one woman, and you stabbed her, probably over some nonsense over a man. And now you fast forward 20 years later, you're right back in the same predicament, and you're now on the run. I don't know if you've had any other altercations with other people, men and women. I won't doubt that you have, because you seem to be a hothead, and you're awfully young to be popping off on people wanting to pull out guns and knives. But obviously, you were raised some type of way where you felt like this was the way to handle disagreements and opinions. Your opinion versus somebody else's opinion. But this isn't the way, because we have to tell ourselves violence is not the answer. And you haven't learned that. And you're almost 50 years of age, so this shows you how poorly your mindset is, that you think it's okay to, one, stab someone 20 years ago, which you would have been, what, about 25? And now you fast forward, you're 45, and you're now on the run for murdering Miss West. You haven't learned anything. And a lot of people are like you. They have to keep getting in trouble to finally learn the error of their ways. And I don't know if you'll even come to terms with what you've done to Miss West and what you've done to her child and her family. Because maybe you don't have any regard for life. And I don't think that you do, considering what you've done. So that's on you. That's between you and God. If you ever repent and have any remorse for unaliving Miss Anitra West. But I pray that they find you, and I pray that you stand account for what you have done. Because justice needs to be served, because you need this lesson to show you cannot go around pulling out guns and knives on people, killing people, that you can't always have your way and the last say. And I think that's possibly what this is about, because a lot of people are like you, got to have the last say. And then on top of that, they've got to act it out. Because there's one thing with feeling like you have to have the last say, but do we need to act on having the last say? I think you're that person. Justice for Anitra West, and prayers to her daughter Zoe and Mr. West, and the mother and family members and the community, and also the co-workers, because they must be devastated being on a job working with an employee, fellow co-worker, and that co-worker gets gunned down right there on the site. That's a lot to digest as well. Being right there next to or nearby, and the person is gunned down. How do you digest that? Knowing you were there, knowing you heard the argument. Where is Monica Williams? She's currently on the run from justice for unaliving 48-year-old Anitra West in Memphis, Tennessee at a Church's Chicken restaurant. When I get more information, update, I will bring it. Look forward to seeing it in the YouTube queue. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie 129 Cash App, stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. And once again, please be aware of your surroundings, and also be aware of the company you keep, and know that everyone is not your friend, and everyone does not have your best interests at heart. And none of us, and I mean none of us, are exempt from being a victim of true crime. And that's a sad thing to have to say, but you do need to be aware of your surroundings, how you act, how you speak, how you talk to people, and also how you respond. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to the Vault XL.